Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever felt like you're giving your all and yet it seems like the world doesn't notice? You're working hard, growing and showing up, but it's as though life has placed a veil over you. Let me tell you something profound. Being hidden isn't a curse, it's a gift. You see, there's a reason God hides you. In our culture, where visibility is often equated with value, we forget that sometimes the greatest transformations happen out of sight. Just like a seed buried in the soil, those moments of obscurity are where real growth takes place. It's in that soil, dark and unseen, that roots are established and strength is built. But here's the beauty of it: being hidden doesn't mean being forgotten. It means being prepared. You're not stuck, you're being positioned. You're not overlooked, you're being protected. Think about it. What happens when a fruit ripens too soon? It falls apart before it's ready. God hides you because He knows the timing matters. Sometimes He's protecting you from forces that could destroy what you've been called to do. Maybe the platform you desire isn't ready for you, or more importantly, you're not ready for it. And that's okay. Trust the process. Trust that the hiding is a cocoon, not a cage. What you do in the hidden season is what defines you. It's easy to want the spotlight, but the spotlight without preparation can destroy you. Character, discipline, resilience, those are built when no one's watching. So if you find yourself in a season where it feels like no one sees you, know that God does, and He's not finished. When the time is right, He will unveil you. And when He does, you'll see why the hiding was necessary. In the meantime, lean into the unseen, trust the quiet, and know that the world may not see you now, but it will when the time is divinely right. Keep the faith, because your moment is coming. Sometimes life places us in a season where it feels like we're hidden, unseen, and perhaps even forgotten. It's easy to misunderstand these moments, to feel as though you're stuck or left behind while the world moves on without you. But let me tell you something: seasons of obscurity are not the end of the road, they are part of the journey. Think about the greatest stories ever told. Every hero has a season before the spotlight, a time when they were being prepared for what was ahead. Moses spent years tending sheep in the wilderness before leading a nation. David was a shepherd long before he became king. Even in nature, seeds are buried in the ground, hidden from sight before they begin to sprout and grow. Why do we think our lives should be any different? This season of being hidden is where the groundwork is laid. It's where your patience is tested, your resilience is strengthened, and your purpose is refined. When no one is watching, you have the freedom to make mistakes, to grow, and to learn without the pressure of an audience. It's in these quiet, private moments that the foundation is built for the future you're destined to step into. But let's be honest, being in the shadows can feel uncomfortable. It can make you question your worth or whether you're on the right path. That's when faith comes in. You have to trust that this season has a reason, even if you can't see it now. Just because you're not in the spotlight doesn't mean you're not moving forward. God isn't withholding from you, He's preparing you. So if you're feeling unseen or stuck, remember this: the journey isn't about rushing to the finish line. It's about allowing each season to do its work in you. Obscurity isn't a pause, it's progress. It's part of the divine plan to bring you to where you need to be. When the time is right, you'll look back on this moment and realize it was exactly what you needed to step into your purpose with strength and clarity. There is something sacred about being in a hidden space, a place where you are not yet on display, where your potential is still unfolding. At first, it might feel like isolation or even a setback. But hidden spaces are not voids, they are fertile ground for growth. They are where transformation takes place. Think about the process of nature. A seed doesn't sprout in the open air, it's planted deep within the soil. In that darkness, unseen and unnoticed, the seed begins to change. It absorbs nutrients, its roots dig deeper, and it starts to develop into something stronger and more resilient than it was before. Without that hidden phase, there would be no tree, no flowers, no fruit. Life works the same way. When you're in a hidden space, it can feel frustrating, as though you're being left behind while others thrive. But what's really happening is that you're being given the time and space to grow into the person you need to become. Growth doesn't always look glamorous. It happens in the quiet, in the unseen moments when you're working on yourself, building skills, and cultivating strength. This is where you learn to trust the process. In the hidden spaces, there's no pressure to perform or to live up to external expectations. It's a safe space to discover your true self, to fail and try again without the fear of judgment. You're given the chance to dig deep into who you are and develop the foundation that will sustain you when your moment to shine finally arrives. It's important to remember that being hidden doesn't mean being stuck. It's not a delay, it's preparation. The best things in life take time to develop. A masterpiece isn't created overnight, and neither is a strong, capable, and purpose-driven person. The hidden space is where you're refined, strengthened, and made ready for what's next. So embrace the hidden spaces. They are not the end of the road. They are the place where your roots grow deep, your vision becomes clear, and your spirit is prepared for the journey ahead. When the time is right, the growth that took place in private will become the strength you carry into the world. Sometimes what feels like rejection or delay is actually divine protection. There are moments in life when we yearn to be seen, to be recognized, or to step into the spotlight, yet doors remain closed. It's easy to feel frustrated or even question your path, but there's a deeper truth at play. Not all exposure is good exposure. Being hidden can often be the shield you didn't realize you needed. Imagine a young tree standing in the middle of a powerful storm. If it's not deeply rooted, the force of the wind can topple it in an instant. Similarly, when we're exposed too soon before we're fully prepared or grounded, the pressures of life can overwhelm us. There's a wisdom in being kept out of the storm while we grow strong enough to weather it. Sometimes the world isn't ready for what you have to offer, or you're not yet ready for the weight of the calling you've been given. Visibility brings challenges, scrutiny, criticism, and distractions that can pull you away from your purpose. Being hidden is God's way of saying, not yet, but soon. It's His way of protecting you from forces that could harm your growth or derail your journey. We live in a world that glorifies being seen. Social media accolades and recognition often seem like the ultimate goals, but visibility without preparation can lead to burnout, insecurity, or even failure. When God keeps you hidden, it's because He values you too much to let you step into something before you're ready. He knows what's at stake and shields you from what could cause harm. In those moments of waiting, trust that you're being protected for a reason. What feels like a delay is actually a divine strategy. You're being refined, strengthened, and equipped to not only survive but thrive when your time comes. Every moment of obscurity is a moment of grace, keeping you safe while you grow into who you're meant to be. So when you find yourself wondering why the door hasn't opened yet, remember that protection is a blessing. What's meant for you will find you when the timing is right. And when it does, you'll be ready to step into the light. Not just to be seen, but to shine. Timing is everything. No matter how talented, prepared, or deserving you may be, stepping into something too soon can turn a blessing into a burden. Life has a rhythm, and when we try to force our way forward before the right moment, we risk missing the fullness of what was meant for us. The right timing doesn't just open doors, it brings the right opportunities through those doors. Think about a piece of fruit that is picked too early. It might look ready on the outside, but inside it's still sour, unripe, and unable to nourish in the way it was intended. The same is true for us. When we rush the process and try to seize opportunities before we're fully prepared, we often find ourselves struggling to handle what we thought we wanted. But when we trust the process and wait for the right timing, something incredible happens. The opportunities that come are not just random, they are tailored for us, aligning with our purpose, our readiness, and our ability to thrive. They don't feel forced or overwhelming because they arrive when we have the strength, wisdom, and capacity to embrace them. It's hard to wait when you feel ready. It's even harder when you see others moving forward while you remain in the waiting room of life. But remember, comparison is the thief of joy, and someone else's journey is not your own. What's meant for you will not pass you by, but it will come when you're truly ready to receive it. The beauty of divine timing is that it ensures everything aligns perfectly, not just for you, but for everyone connected to your purpose. The right timing doesn't just bring an opportunity, it brings the right opportunity, one that has been prepared for you just as much as you've been prepared for it. So if you're in a season of waiting, don't rush. Use this time to grow, to learn, and to trust. Know that when the door opens, you'll walk through it with confidence, knowing that it's not just your time, it's the right time. And when that moment comes, you'll see why the wait was not a delay, but a gift. True character is not built in the spotlight, it's forged in the quiet, unseen moments when no one is watching. It's easy to perform when the world is clapping, but who you are in the background when there's no audience, no applause, and no recognition defines the foundation of your character. In those hidden seasons, life presents you with choices. Do you cut corners when no one's checking? Do you stay disciplined when it feels like your effort doesn't matter? These moments test your integrity, shaping who you are at your core. They reveal whether you're doing the right thing because it's right or because you want to be noticed. It's in these private spaces that your values take root, becoming the anchor you'll rely on when life becomes more demanding. Think about the people you admire most. Their strength, wisdom, and resilience didn't come from ease or external validation. It came from years of showing up in the background, making sacrifices, working hard, and staying true to their purpose, even when no one was watching. It's that quiet perseverance, that willingness to grow without immediate reward, that builds the kind of character that lasts. There's a reason why the preparation phase happens behind the scenes. In the background, there's freedom to learn, to stumble, and to rise again without fear of judgment. It's a safe space where you can sharpen your skills, deepen your faith, and cultivate the humility that keeps you grounded when the spotlight eventually finds you. When your moment to step forward finally comes, it's not your talent or ambition that will sustain you, it's your character. The decisions you made in private, the discipline you practiced when no one was looking, and the lessons you learned in the quiet will be the pillars of your success. So if you feel overlooked or unseen, know that this time is not wasted. It's a sacred space where you're being molded into the person you need to be. The background isn't a detour, it's the foundation. And when the time is right, the strength you've built in the unseen will shine brighter than any spotlight ever could. When you find yourself in the season of being hidden, it's easy to feel forgotten. You might wonder if your efforts, your dreams, or even your prayers are being overlooked. But let me remind you, being hidden does not mean you're forgotten. It simply means you're being prepared. Think of a treasure buried deep in the ground. It's hidden not because it's unimportant, but because it's valuable. Its worth is protected, and at the right time it will be discovered and cherished. In the same way, being out of sight doesn't diminish your value. Instead, it's often a sign that something precious is being cultivated within you. God doesn't forget what He's created. He doesn't lose sight of your purpose or the plans He has for you. While it may feel like nothing is happening, those unseen moments are often the most critical. It's in the quiet, hidden places that growth happens, that you're equipped for the journey ahead. Being hidden is not about inactivity, it's about intentionality. We live in a world that equates visibility with importance, but visibility is not the same as value. Just because others don't see you or acknowledge your work doesn't mean it's meaningless. Sometimes the greatest transformations happen in the shadows. A butterfly emerges from a cocoon, not a stage. The cocoon isn't a place of neglect, it's a place of transformation. Trust that being hidden is part of a bigger plan. What you're experiencing now is preparing you for what's to come. The skills you're developing, the lessons you're learning, and the patience you're building are not for nothing. They're the very tools you'll need when your time comes. Being hidden doesn't mean you're stuck, it means you're being positioned. It doesn't mean you're overlooked, it means you're being refined. So hold on to hope and remember that even in the moments when it feels like no one sees you, God does. And He hasn't forgotten you, not for a moment. When the time is right, you'll step into the light, not as someone who was forgotten, but as someone who was being prepared all along. In life, it's easy to mistake being hidden for being forgotten, but the truth is, every unseen moment has a purpose. Seasons of obscurity, hidden spaces, and divine delays are not wasted. They are the very tools used to shape you, protect you, and prepare you for the opportunities ahead. Trust that being hidden is not a punishment, but a blessing. It's in these quiet spaces that your character is built, your strength is refined, and your purpose is clarified. The waiting is not a delay, it's a divine setup for something greater than you can imagine. So as you walk through these seasons, hold on to the truth that you are not forgotten. You are being prepared, positioned, and protected for the perfect moment when everything aligns. When that time comes, you'll step forward, not just ready to shine, but ready to fulfill your purpose with grace, strength, and confidence. Remember, God hides you for a reason, and when the unveiling comes, it will all make sense. Stay faithful, stay patient, and stay prepared. Your moment is coming.